All right, guys. USA 1, Honduras 0. We clinch a goal in the, was it 87th minute? 88th minute by Jordan Sibachu Pifok, who, with a decisive header, a nice flick-on knockdown header from Brendan Aronson. From Weston Mckinney. And then Jordan Sibachu finishes with his head. So, excellent. Welcome, everybody. I hope everybody's feeling good that we got the result. And that is what, I don't want to say it's what we have to focus on, but that's what we have to take. We have to take that we got a fortunate win, and now we are in the final. So, how's everybody feeling? Filippo, how are you doing? How's your voice?
I'm getting my air back. I got a little carried away at the end of the game. I started a little getting too excited. Like, they were even asking me about Brendan Aronson. I'm like, I'm not even looking at Brendan Aronson right now. I'm just trying to, we just got to, but I'm trying to digest everything. Obviously.
See, here's the thing, guys. When Filippo and I are doing this, like you, we are fans. So we are as emotional as you. And sometimes emotion doesn't always lend itself well to calm, rational analysis. So we're going to try our best here to do that because there's certainly a lot to talk about, even though we got the win. And more important, we have to remind ourselves that oftentimes, especially in U.S. soccer, but with soccer in general, a win can paper over a lot of problems. And we saw a lot of those problems today, most of which have been problems for quite some time. They aren't new issues, okay? We have a super chat here. Happy for the win, but I feel like our team doesn't have the emotional security to challenge in 2021, and Triple G can't make them better. Yeah, I agree with you. On the balance of today, we saw very little that makes us believe that Greg Burhalter knows how to take this talented group of players and turn them into a team. Okay? But again, we got the win. It was a fortunate win. It was a lucky win, but we still got it. Okay? And we will talk about it. Don't you worry. Okay?
Can I say the major positive, Pete?
Sure.
There's one major positive, and it all comes down to us winning. We didn't play well. Greg Burhalter did not do a good job. A lot of the players, including our best player, Christian Pulisic, didn't have a good game. But what we were saying is good teams have bad days. Maybe it was just a bad day for us, hopefully. And we found a way to win. We found a way to win. It was not beautiful. It was not pretty. It was ugly. No. We won. We found a way to win.
Yeah, we did. We got lucky, but we did find a way to win. All right? So, Martel, this is the first game of a squad that will play 3 World Cup cycles. Let's take it down a notch. Take it down from what, buddy? Have we said anything so far that's, no. So we are trust me, we are at very low notches. We can thrash Mexico on Sunday and still struggle in World Cup qualifying. Sure, anything is possible. But I'm not sure what this has to do with World Cup qualifying, right? What we've seen is a team that doesn't look like they are gelling for many possible reasons. Yeah. So I'm not sure why you want us to take it down a notch. I feel like we've been pretty calm so far.
Yeah. The thing is, we can't, the one key to success in any team, anything in life actually, is even when you're winning, you got to look at the problems.
Right.
You got to look at the problems. Anything in life. It's not just soccer, any sport. And that's what we're going to point out, a lot of the problems we saw. But we're happy, like everyone. I'm very happy.
Yeah, we're happy that we got the 3 points. Because believe me, this could have been us trying to explain away a loss. That's what this easily could have been. Okay? But we're happy we got the win. Jordan Sibachu has etched himself into USMNT history with that goal, because that is a crucial goal. When it matters, he stepped up. And he deserves massive kudos for that. Let me get started on some of these super chats here, because they're coming in thick and fast. Okay, here we go. Sorry, guys, I'm a little backed up here. I will get to them one by one. That was Martel. Sergio, Burhalter out. That's not going to happen, buddy. That's not going to happen. As much as I have real question marks about Greg Burhalter and his ability to lead this team, I'm telling you that's not going to happen as much as some of us may like that. All right. Next one.
Before click on the next one, but let me just say one that you might have missed here. So one was American Soccer United. You don't need to put it on screen. I'll read it for you. He said, please explain the subs. Make them make sense.
We'll get to the subs.
We'll get to the subs, America Soccer United.
Waiting till the 73rd minute to make subs is ridiculous to me. Agree, Dean, especially a team that most of these guys played 4 days earlier across the ocean. Okay, especially. I don't know what he was doing with that, but 100% agree with you. All right.
And things weren't going well.
And things were not going well. We did not at all look like scoring. I've been watching top 5 leagues last 2 years. Didn't miss seeing the stretchers. How do you combat obvious game stalling against CONCACAF? You can't, right? You can't combat that. That's how this has always been that way in CONCACAF. And according to the rules of the game, they haven't broken any rules. So you can't really combat it. There's nothing you can do about that. You have to accept that that is going to be part of the game and you have to deal with it, right? Okay. Thank you, Drew. Thank you, everybody, for the super chats. I appreciate it. Tequila Dylan. I want to kiss John's shiny forehead, but ugly game, as in John Brooks. Yeah, he had some good moments and some really not good moments. Okay. Yeah. Another Burhalter out. A lot of anti-Burhalter sentiment, and I understand it.
Let's talk about one thing, though, Pete. Look, guys, remember one thing. If we're going to replace Burhalter, and someone said that in my stream too, and it was a good point. If we're going to replace him, it has to be a big name. It has to be someone very good. There's no point in replacing him and get another MLS coach unproven.
Well, see, I'm going to push back a little bit against that. Just because they're an MLS coach doesn't mean they're a bad coach. Like Jesse Marsh, good coach.
Unproven.
Yeah, but at least some of these coaches know how to win, right? Caleb Porter has 2 MLS Cups, right? Greg Vanny has MLS Cups. Several of them. Like, I'm just saying that there may be better coaches in MLS than Burhalter. But generally speaking, I agree with you. You can't talk about replacing a coach unless you're talking about a replacement. And listen, right now, Burhalter's not going anywhere. Even if we had lost today, he's not going anywhere. So that's just something we have to keep in mind. Jose Lopez, Sargent and Sibachu need to start together. Not sure I agree with you there, Jose. I think there are bigger issues than that. Not sure that because that changes the formation a lot if you're going to go 2 up top. Yeah. Okay. Tyson. Burhalter is a beta. I don't think he has control of the locker room. I'm actually inclined. I disagree that he doesn't have control. We don't know that he doesn't have control. What he seems to be is a little bit clueless tactically and a little bit slow to adapt. That's what we're seeing from Burhalter. As far as his control of the locker room, having the trust and the confidence of his players, we can't really speak to that. You may be right, but there's no evidence of that right now, or no clear evidence at least.
Do you think maybe also late subs sometimes could be hesitation from a coach that doesn't know what to do?
Could be. It's baffling to me that he didn't make those subs sooner. It really, really is, because it feels like they should have come in a lot sooner. And we'll talk about the subs, guys. We're going to go through the game in detail.
We need to rate the players. Rate the players.
And we're going to rate the players. We're going to rate the whole team. If there's one thing this game confirms, it's that Burhalter is 100% your guys' Juan Carlos Osorio. I'm not sure what that means. I know he did pretty okay with Mexico, I thought. He had some bad games, but he also had some good tournaments. He got them to the second round at a World Cup. I don't know. I don't know too much about Juan Carlos Osorio, so tell me what you mean by that. But if you mean that Burhalter is tactically inept, then I agree with you. Sargent is trash. Let's be honest, we need a striker. I'm going to talk about Sargent in just a second. Trash is a very strong term, which I disagree with. But I agree that Sargent was not good today. Very few people were, though, okay? All right. Did I get all of these? I think I missed one still. There's a $4.99 one that I missed.
What was the last one?
Dominican stud. Here we go. This game was super nerve-wracking, especially after the 80th minute. But the euphoria from Jordan's goal was kind of worth it. Yeah, I think I scared my dog when that goal went in. I jumped up and I yelled, and the dog was taking a nap, and woo! Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the game, just sort of a review. We started off actually quite poor. We started off nervous. I said this on Filippo's stream for anybody else who was there. We started off nervous. We started off scared, sort of playing within ourselves. And you cannot go into a competitive game against a CONCACAF team, which is a slogfest, with that mentality, right? Because it will absolutely affect you on the field, right? So much of the game is up here. And if you don't go into it with the right mentality, you are going to struggle. And we didn't. And that affected us the rest of the game. That being said, we still created some decent chances in that first half. In the first 20 minutes, Gio Reyna looked like he was on fire. In fact, most of the good work came from Gio Reyna and came from Gio Reyna coming inside and playing as a midfielder, right? Pulisic had some nervy moments. But more important, what I saw from the first half tactically. So we've talked about the mentality. This team, I said after the Switzerland game that this team looks mentally fragile to me. And I think today confirmed that. Despite some people saying that was an overreaction, I disagree. I think today confirmed that we are still very mentally fragile. And is that something that we can change? Yes. But it needs to start with the coach. And it needs to, maybe it comes also from experience. That's a very young team. Okay. It was nerve-wracking. Absolutely it was. Absolutely it was. But tactically, we were also set up very poorly because we had Jackson Yule, Weston McKinney, and Sebastian Lletget in midfield. That midfield is neither creative nor defensively solid. So you can look at McKennie, Musa, Adams and say that's not a very creative midfield, but at least that is going to be a defensively solid midfield. Okay? You could put Gio, McKennie, and Aronson in midfield and say that's not a very defensively solid midfield, but it's going to at least be creative. It felt like that midfield was a huge problem for us. And the reason I say that is because the only way we could get creativity was have Gio Reyna and Christian Pulisic do what? Most of that first half, they were coming inside. Okay? Now, in Burhalter's system, that's technically what they're supposed to do. The problem is then you have no width. And Honduras just compresses the space, compresses the midfield, and makes it very, very hard to play through, right? So it was a problem, and it was a problem that stayed throughout the entire game. And we never changed it. Burhalter never adapted. When he made subs, okay, so at halftime, it's nervy. We have some bad moments where it looks like Honduras is going to score. We have some moments where we look like we're going to score, and we don't. Pretty even in that first half in terms of chances, but in terms of which team looked more confident, which team looked like they wanted more, which team was more physically dominant, then it was Honduras, right? Second half, I thought surely Burhalter is going to make changes in the second half because this isn't working. Second half comes out, no changes were made. Okay? Disappointing. And we'll talk about the second half. Carl Woodlair, John Lewis, American in Canada, biggest problem link between mid to forward. Forget Lletget and Yule. Those are the midfielders, my friend. Those are some of the midfielders that has to link the midfield to forward. But like I said, I'm not attacking individual players here. I'm attacking a system that wasn't working, right? In the system that we played with the personnel that surrounded each other, we lacked defensive stability and we lacked creativity. Usually you only lack one. We lacked both. But more importantly, our mentality is what we really lacked. Any thoughts on this, Ibo?
Yeah, before I give my thoughts, guys, if you kindly could, one great way to help the channel here, not just donations there, that's perfectly fine, but
yes, thank you.
A free way to do, please hit the like button, everyone. It really helps. Trust us. It really helps us. But yeah, I agree with everything you said. I don't want to keep blaming Lletget and Yule. It's really not about them too. You see, no. Yes, they were problems in the team. They were problems, especially Yule, not Lletget too much, more Yule. But it's not about them. So we can't keep bashing these guys. And they didn't really play any different than they always do.
Yeah, it's not the individual player. It's the setup that all the players were put in. The players didn't complement each other's strengths and weaknesses. It didn't provide a balance of attack and defense. It ended up actually stifling creativity while not doing a whole lot defensively. And once again, we were left exposed on several counterattacking occasions. So I put the problems more today on Greg Burhalter, on the coach, than I do on the individual players. Because some of our best players did not perform well either. Pulisic, for example, was poor. Dest was poor.
And again, let's not fall into the illusion that sliding Tyler Adams in there is everything's resolved.
Save it. No.
Okay. Let's not fall into that illusion.
Arnold Maldonado, him of the great name. It seemed like Honduras put the brakes around the 70th minute and were banking on going to penalties. Do you guys think that was the case? Yes, I agree with you. I think that they were that's why they were time wasting. They wanted a nice 0-0 draw and then go to penalties. And thank God we didn't, because I'm not sure I would have been super confident. Penalties is a game of nerves, right? Most professional players can put 20 penalties in a row in training. But when there's stakes on the line, that's when it becomes difficult, right? And so if we'd gone to penalties, I don't know if I would have trusted this team with their nerve-wracking performance to finish the game with penalties. What do you think?
Well, I think along with being nervous, these players were all tired. The American players looked tired at the end. And when you go to that walk for a penalty shootout, nervous, tired legs, your legs just stiffens up. Yeah. And I would not be, I mean, we could have won, but I think maybe
I would not have been confident in penalties.
Maybe I would have had a heart attack. I wouldn't have been here right now. So,
all right. We got a couple more of these, and then we're going to talk about the second half. Rico Poe. What happened? Rico? These things go quickly if you don't. There was a yellow, a $10 one from Rico. Did I miss it?
I'm going to try to find it here, Pete. Give me 1 second.
If you can find it, because I only get like 30 comments, and then it.
When was the last one? Arnold.
Last one was Arnold Maldonado.
Okay, so, I got Rico here. I can read a Rico.
Yeah, read Rico's one.
Rico Poe. Spacing was horrible. We have two wingers and one fullback that loves to cut into the middle. A striker and Sargent that was dropping deep. Everyone occupying the same space that needs to change.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I've talked about this before. Both of us have talked about this before, where Gio Reyna coming inside and Serginho Dest both coming inside. That's their best game, right? Both of them are more effective coming inside to combine than they are wide. And what does that do? And the same with Christian Pulisic. How many times did we see Christian Pulisic come inside? It compresses the game into the midfield. And so Honduras can also compress their defense and deny us time and space. I said this back against Wales, 0-0, right? I said that all the way back then, and it's been a consistent problem until today, where I don't know that the players on the field were being put in their best positions where they're most effective. Watch Gio Reyna. Why was Gio Reyna so effective? Every time he came inside, Gio Reyna offered a lot. Okay. Paul Monroy.
And it's Macho 25.
Nacho 25. I don't see that one up here. Can you
read it? I'll read it here. Let me read through for you so we don't miss it. So Macho 25. He said, I stand corrected. Canada's forward lineup, Davis, David, and Larin is better than the U.S. forward combo. So he's saying the Alphonso Davies, Jonathan David, and Kyle Larin would technically be better than Christian Pulisic, Gio Reyna, and Josh Sargent.
In terms of talent, no. Maybe, Davies over Sargent right now, yes, for sure. And Alphonso Davies over Pulisic, maybe. Maybe you might have a point there. It's close.
It's not too crazy to say it.
No, it's close. You might be close. Okay. Paul Monroy, is this the right one? Leggett and Yule are who they are. Their skills are their skills, and we shouldn't blame them for that. Blame the coach to evaluate their talent and to play/not play them. I don't trust Triple G at all. Yeah, I agree with you. That's basically what we just said. We're not attacking individual players here, right? When the whole team looks dysfunctional, that's on the coach. And the whole team looked dysfunctional today. From Greg Spradlin. Please, if I've missed any of these, Filippo, please let me know. Let's be honest. Jet lag.
One right here. Oh, okay. Wait, hold on. It disappeared, but let me go back to Custom G. Custom G had something. I took a screenshot.
Thanks,
just to make sure.
I'll start answering these right away, and then maybe later we can talk about it.
Custom G. Most of our stars didn't play well, but our best on the field would cover that up. Our midfield wasn't our best. Everyone, hit the damn like button. Thank you, Custom G.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yes, guys, please go hit that. We have over 1,000 people in the chat here. This is awesome. I love that you guys come hang out after games. This is the best. And thank you, everybody, for your super chats. I really do appreciate it. Greg Spradlin, let's be honest, jet lag was probably a huge factor. It may have been in the second half, Greg, but in the opening minutes, I don't think it was jet lag. I think it was nerves. Does it look like nerves to you, Filippo? Am I off on that? Did it look like they were nervous?
It looked nervous from the beginning.
Yeah, from the very beginning.
And we could kind of see the difference too on, for example, Mark Mckenzie. He was very cool, calm against Switzerland for most of the game. Mark seemed a little off today. He didn't have the worst performance. I'm not saying that. He wasn't bad, actually, Mark Mckenzie. But he seemed a little off when he had the ball. It's like a hot potato on his foot. Yeah. Dest, yeah, honestly, I think the team was just nervous because a lot of the times when we had the ball, we noticed the technical gap between the two teams. It was noticeable. Yeah. The way we exchanged passes. Honduras was just running around and being chippy. But a couple things we can point out more. I think the best thing for me to do so I can go through is maybe when we start rating the players, we'll talk about it. We can start rating them, and then we'll go through.
Yeah. Thank you, Greg. Squints Vocals says just $4.99. It's just a donation. No question. No question. If you have a question, put it in the chat. Starting to think Dest is not just subpar defensively, but a liability in a back four, particularly when he faces more formidable wingers in the future. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But I think it's more, do we want him defending in a back four? Can we maybe go to a back five under certain, like against Mexico? Is this going to last? I'm not sure that it is. Mikel Higuera, you or tactical manager have TikTok. DK is needed. I do have a TikTok for 11 Yanks, but I almost never post on it. So
you dance?
No, hell no. It was just me to like rant sometimes. Don Aniano, tell us who should be the USA 11 on Sunday. We'll get into that because there's a lot. I'll remember this question, and we'll definitely talk about 11 against Mexico. I have a real question as to why Musa got no minutes today. Leon Jones, this team isn't fit enough. We are losing too many challenges and not picking up enough second balls. Look, there might have been some tiredness from playing in Switzerland, right, before this. There may have been. It's possible. But again, if it's a fitness issue, you usually start to see it in the second half. All right. If you start seeing it in the first 20 minutes of the game, it's usually not a fitness issue. It's probably nerves. It's probably fear. And that is massive, massive, massive in terms of a player's ability to perform well, their mental state. It's not often talked about, but it is a very real thing. MT, genuinely believe there is a contract between USSF and MLS to always have an MLS player on pitch. Also, want to see a back three because Dest/Jedi defense is bad. Agree with you on the second. There's no evidence of the first. Okay? Yeah. There's no evidence of that. It might be true. We don't know. I doubt there's an actual contract. No contract. What I think is probably true, which I think you're referring to, is pressure from MLS to feature at least a few MLS players on the national team. Okay? And that is because they are under the same umbrella of Soccer United Marketing, which is a whole different topic. But I think there's probably pressure for sure. Any thoughts?
But guys, look, the contract, I could pretty much say there's definitely not a contract. There's no way because, look, how could they have a contract? Let's say Burhalter doesn't put MLS is going to sue them for this. They're going to make that public. No. Yeah. There's no contract, but there's definitely pressure. And this is not just the U.S. Soccer Federation. This is every federation. Every federation has different types of pressure. You go to the FA in England, there's pressure to put certain players from the top six. In Brazil, there's a lot of pressure, certain specific players. I'm not going to get into that in this stream. So it's perfectly normal. And unfortunately, there is pressure. That is quite evident. And I agree with the second one too, the three in the back.
Yeah. We're going to talk about Mexico or Costa Rica. We don't know the result of that game yet on Sunday. But I want to reiterate, guys, that I really think this – I said before the game on Filippo's stream, I said this team, if they come out tactically set up well, and if they come out with the right mentality, they will win this game. I don't think we came out with either of those things. We came out with a scared mentality, and we came out set up tactically very poor. And I think that was evident to anybody who watched the game. Do you think Weston Mckinney played well tonight? No. There are very few players I think had a good game. I think Gio Reyna was one of the few of them. And that's one of the things that surprised me, that he was one of the first guys to get subbed off. I was like, really? Gio? The only guy who looks capable of creating anything on the field right now? Very surprised. Michael Wilson. This team, as currently constructed, with the personnel available, is not capable of playing this possession-based 4-3-3, not with the midfield today. I agree and I disagree. I agree that this midfield today made it very hard, but I disagree that this structure cannot play the 4-3-3 well against a lot of pressure. You know, Honduras was going to be a physical team from the start. We knew that. Why did we have lightweight midfielders? Like Yunus Musa is one of the best players in the cage, right? One of the best. Why was Yunus Musa not played at all? When Yunus Musa is exactly the kind of guy that could have gone up against Honduras's midfield and offered not only some ball security, not only athleticism and defensive nous, but also better technically than either Yule or Leggett or even McKinney. Why was Gio Reyna not brought inside where he's clearly more effective? Why was Tim Weah not brought on? Now you can say, look, Burhalter made the subs and two of them, you know, and one of them scored a goal. I think we got lucky. I really do. You know, Weston Mckinney makes the right header and good on Jordan Sibachu. Let's talk briefly about Sargent. He was not good today either. Sargent this is my conclusion on Sargent after today.
Still a hero, though.
Who?
He was still a hero. He saved
Sargent,
us.
yeah. This would have been 1-0 at halftime if Sargent hadn't been back there defending for his life. You know, Sargent is a talented player. We know he has ability. But I think that playing 2.5 years at a team that is as terrible as it was and playing for a coach as terrible as he was has shredded his confidence. And when even good players lack confidence, look at Timo Werner. They struggle. And I think Sargent needs to get a transfer to another club where hopefully he can get his confidence back and get his mojo back. He's not finished. He's not toss him on the trash heap at 21 years old, but he is somebody that does have to improve because he was not good today at all. Edwin Garcia Mendez. I think we need to seriously consider a 3-4-2-1, the way Chelsea plays. Cover our defense. Puts Dest/Robinson wing back, puts Reyna more central. Yeah, 3-4-2-1. I'd prefer a 3-5-2 with both Pulisic and Reyna central, or with Pulisic as the second forward, but with license to roam. Okay? And yeah, Gio more central in a more compact midfield. And a back three does protect our flanks, which have been weak. Over and over and over again, we've seen it in friendlies. We saw it again today. The exact same play that was run against Switzerland, we saw it today in the second half. No, Filippo?
No, it's the exact same, and we don't see Burhalter. It seems like he's, I don't want to say he's incapable, but maybe he's incapable of trying any other different tactical approach. And remember, guys, soccer goes through cycles of formations and styles of play. Burhalter is constantly trying to implement at times what Liverpool played 3 years ago, whatever, and it was successful, which people already figured out how to counter that. They figured it out. So It's the same way with Pep Guardiola. He's trying to implement what worked in 2009, and it hasn't been working for a decade. It's the same thing, and Burhalter doesn't seem to try. And it kind of seemed like he was going that route when he changed the formation versus Northern Ireland.
Yeah,
it seemed
we saw him at least try it.
But he gave up on it for some reason.
He just decided not to use it. So, look, but all this talk of formations, guys, I understand why. But no formation in the world is going to make up. If you don't cross that chalk, that white line, and you're not there to battle, no formation in the world is going to help you, okay? And I don't think we crossed the line with the right mentality today. I think we crossed the line scared and nervous, and we've seen this a lot from this team. This isn't one-off or new information. We've seen this quite a few times. Now they're young. That's true. Sometimes young players will get nervous. What I want to see more from a team that is this young is when things are not going well, what is your response on the field? Do you drop your head? Do you slow the play? Or do you battle through it? And I think today was a good learning experience for our players. And hopefully we don't show up like that against Mexico or Costa Rica in the final, because if we do, we're going to have problems, real problems. Okay. Michael Higuera, please dance on TikTok. Is DK our killer forward? Nobody wants to see me dance on TikTok, I can assure you, and I don't want to dance.
We we could get Pedro Parker to dance.
Maybe. There you go. Pedro Parker.
If we beat Mexico, if we play Mexico on Sunday, we're there. They still have to make it. If we play Mexico, can Pedro Parker show up at your channel? Is he allowed?
Sure. Pedro Parker is the Spider-Man guy, right?
Spider-Man.
Yeah, sure. Bring him on. Why not?
So you guys heard it. Pedro Parker will be here if we beat Mexico. But it has to be Mexico, not Costa Rica. It has to be Mexico.
Alex Meza, thoughts on a back three consisting of Brooks, Richards, and Justin Che. Guys, Justin Che is not ready to start for the national team. The guy has not played a single professional minute in his life. That's premature to start calling for his inclusion. But I can see a back three of Brooks, Richards, and Mckenzie, or even Brooks, since Richards is not here, against Mexico. Let's talk briefly about Mexico. I would go with the back three against Mexico if we play them in the final. I would go Brooks, I would go Mckenzie, and I would go Miazga with the three of them.
Did you see their starting lineup? Want me to read Mexico's starting lineup?
Sure. Let me just finish this real quick. Then I would go in midfield. I would go Musa, McKinney, and Gio. Okay. Robinson and Dest as wingbacks. And then I would go Sibachu up top. I think he earned the start against Mexico after this goal today. And Sargent just does not look confident. And you cannot have a striker who's not confident. He wasn't as bad as maybe some people are saying he was, but he was poor, yes. And I think it's time to give Sibachu a start against Mexico. Or Costa Rica. This game has not been decided yet either. Okay? All right.
So I'm a little confused with their starting lineup because it looks like Antuna is their right back.
Interesting.
A right wing
not
back.
A right wing back?
Let me read the whole lineup for you so you can help me figure it out. So Mexico's going with Ochoa, the goalkeeper. And then defenders, to me, it's Araujo and Moreno, the two defenders.
So Nestor
and
Araujo
then
and Moreno.
Maybe Edson Alvarez on defense. I'm not sure. He's there as well, Edson Alvarez.
Okay.
And then you got Arteaga on the left and Antuna on the right.
Okay.
And then you got Chucky Lozano, Hector Herrera, Guardado. Ancient Guardado is starting. Diego Lainez starting too.
I think he earned it.
Yeah, and Henry Martin is the center forward. Interesting.
Where's Tecatito? Is Tecatito not playing?
He's done. He's not playing the tournament. Oh, well, actually, he's at the bench, but
he's on the bench. Probably not fully fit.
Some L3 fans were saying that he might not play at all. I think they might be saving him to maybe play in the final. Yeah. Kind of like what we did to Adams.
Yeah. Okay, Carl Woodler, Jean-Louis. I agree with your analysis at 11 Yanks. However, my point is, as long as Greg, the coach, we will play this style, this tactic, Leggett and Yule play slow and decision. Yeah, look, I think Burhalter is out of his depth. I do. And I think that's becoming evident with every game that is there. But we have no choice but to support him because he's not getting fired anytime soon. So if you want to support this team to do well, you want to root for Burhalter to do well. So it's a real struggle for me. I think tactically, again, we saw not only a poor setup tactically when we started the game, but what I've always complained about Burhalter, and which he's demonstrated many times, is a failure to adapt. He cannot adapt to game states, to switches of play, to things that are not going well, right? And even when he brought the subs on, he took off Gio Reyna, the best player up to that point, right? And he brought on who? I mean, Brendan Aronson, I can understand that. Okay, fine. He brought on, Reggie Cannon, switched Dest over to the left. Okay, I don't know if that had a huge impact on the game, to be honest. But Yunus Musa would have given us some real solidity in midfield. He would have given us the ability to maybe dribble into space. That's something that Yunus Musa does very well, to eat up space on the dribble. Didn't see Musa. I don't know why. I don't know what Burhalter's thinking in his head. Sibachu for Sargent, I understand. I maybe would have gone Sibachu next to Sargent, gone like a 3-5-2, but I'm not Burhalter. I thought he waited way too long to make those substitutions. I also thought, why did Weston Mckinney and Serginho Dest both play 90 minutes in both games? It doesn't feel like we're managing minutes very well. Serginho Dest plays 90 minutes against Switzerland and here, right? Same with Weston Mckinney. So I don't really know what Burhalter is doing. And I agree that I think he's the limiting factor on this team right now. All right. GGG. Oh, Vilang Wang said exactly the same thing. Triple G is the limiting factor in this team. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you were reading.
Huh?
I thought you were reading it.
No, I wasn't. I just clicked on the next one. Yeah, guys. Now, look, it isn't all doom and gloom because we got the win, right? It isn't all doom and gloom because this is a young team that has still the opportunity to improve. And anything can happen in a final. But I think it's important to highlight what we were very poor at today. And we were tactically set up poorly. And I thought that we were very mentally fragile again. So I'm sorry if some people think I'm overreacting, but that's my honest assessment of this game. I'm not trying to overreact. And I think it's a fair assessment, right? Does that mean we're never going to be good? No. Does that mean these guys are going to be mentally fragile forever? No. But right now, all I can judge them on is what I see on the field. And when it's one or two players or three players, you tend to blame the player. You go, okay, that player was not. When it's the whole team, I look at the coaching bench. Okay. All right. Jesse Dyer, Musa can drive forward. We've been starved for coaching. It's not just him. We have some of the leading coaches in the women's game. U.S. football will come around. Yeah, I mean, look, we have a lot of good coaches. I mean, Pellegrino Matarazzo and Jesse March are both coaching in the Bundesliga now, right? So we have good American coaches out there. But let's face it, we all know that Burhalter was hired because of his brother. Like, he didn't earn the U.S. national team's job with a strong club resume. His club resume was fired from the Swedish second division for a lack of offense. They literally said that in the press release. And no, they did. And then 5 years with Columbus Crew, where generally speaking, he got Columbus Crew playing well, but won nothing. Okay.
And they won without him.
And then they won 2 years after he left, they win the title.
Technically won, right? Because the pandemic kind of stopped. Technically 1 year. Yeah.
Well, yeah, 29. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, within a year they won it without him. Now maybe some of that was his work, but Caleb Porter has won the MLS Cup now twice. Greg Vanney has won MLS Cup twice, right? Peter Vermees has won once. All of these guys have stronger club resumes than Burhalter. Miguel Higuera. I'm U.S. Mexico. Any advice for us Chicanos who are between U.S. and Mex? Who should be our starting center forward against Mexico, assuming Mexico will beat Costa Rica? Miguel, I can't speak for you as far as where your heart goes. You have to go with your heart. Naturally, I'm going to tell you support the USMNT. But if your heart is with El Tri, then support them. I can't speak to the complexities of being a Mexican American. That's on you, man. You have to follow your heart. What do you think, Filippo?
Well, it's good for me to speak because I also have two. I have Brazil and I have the U.S. And I lived 13 years of my life in Brazil and 14 in the United States. I have lots of family in Brazil and lots of family here. And I honestly can't pick either. So when someone asks me that, I just go with my gut feeling when they play each other. Certain games, I'm going to want the United States to win. Like, for example, 2026. If we play Brazil, it's in America. I want the United States to go as far as possible. Now, 2022, because Brazil can actually win the World Cup, I don't think the U.S. will have a chance on that. I would probably go for Brazil. So, honestly, when it comes down, just go with your gut feeling. There's no, what country do you feel like you love more? Or if it's equal, just go for both.
Yeah, support them both. And then when they play each other, pick the one that you love more or that makes you feel something. Because that's what this game is all about, right? It's all about passion.
Pete, let me just go through. I think I saw someone in the chat saying you missed something. So, guys, if for some reason we missed some super chats here, there's a lot. We're trying to go through all. I'm going to read two here. I don't know if Pete read them. I didn't hear it. So I'm going to read two real quick, Pete. So one is from Drew Yu. He said this team lacks dogs. Brooks and Adams with his bench yellow card have the factor, but I was hoping to see more from Mckennie today. Yeah. That's what you're saying.
It's basically what we've said, and we agree with you. When you say they lack dogs, what you're saying is what we're saying is they lack mental toughness. They're mentally fragile. They're not there for a scrap, and that's something that I said it last game. I was told I was overreacting by some people. I disagree. I don't think I was. I think this game showed again how mentally fragile we are. Miguel Garcia.
There's one more with Drew. It's Adam. So he said, I give Pulisic a pass tonight. 96 hours ago, he's partying on the other side of the world, the Champions League trophy on to Sunday. I'll let you say that one. I don't give him a pass for that.
I don't give him a pass for that. No, if you show up for the national team, you better be ready to play and give your all and play well. Now, where I could give Pulisic a pass is that I don't think the team was set up with very clear responsibilities. Okay, I'll give him a pass there. But in terms of his individual play, no, I don't care if you were celebrating Champions League. When you show up to play for your country and you say you're ready to play, which he said in press conferences, then you better be ready to play. So no, you don't get a pass. No other country would give their players a pass. If, Kai Havertz shows up at the Euros for Germany and performs poorly, no one says, oh, he gets a pass because he won the Champions League and he must still have a hangover. No, that's not what accountability looks like. That's not how it works. Okay, so I disagree with you on that.
And also, they're professional soccer players. It's like any other profession. If you partied on Friday and you show up Sunday, and you're hungover on Monday at work, they're not going to forgive you. Like, that's your problem, dude. You got to show up.
Exactly. Miguel Garcia, Clint D is so right. We need to play better teams. Yeah, we do. I agree with that. But I don't think, guys, all that stuff is probably true, right? The formations, the tactical stuff. Yes, correct. There are tons of things we can do. But more than anything, we need to show up with the stomach for a fight, because CONCACAF World Cup qualifying, guys, this was at home. If this was in San Pedro Sula in Honduras, it would be way worse. Bumpy pitch, hostile crowd, playing drums all night outside your hotel room, throwing bottles and coins on the field, like studs up challenge. This would have been worse. And that's what we're going to face in World Cup qualifying. So if we don't have the stomach for a World Cup qualifying scrap, we are in trouble. And I'm going to put that on record right now and saying we need to change our mentality going into these games. All right, Jab Dab. Didn't Burhalter have a poor goal difference with the Crew? Bad. I don't know the answer to the goal difference, but I know he generally made the playoffs with the Crew, but never won. He did make the final at home, the MLS Cup final, where they lost to Portland. Okay. All right. Andy Garcia. With the Colorado Avalanche and Denver Nuggets in the playoffs, is it a pro or con that the tournament was played in Denver? No idea, Andy. I don't think that's relevant to...
I didn't even know Denver Nuggets were in the playoffs.
Mexico already scored? No, they're showing highlights. My bad. Okay. Yeah, Andy, I don't know what that has to do with the tournament being played in Denver. All right, Miguel again. I'm 60-40 winning, us winning, but in my heart, but I wish we had a better coach. Would Musa and Gio playing inside be that bad? No. Filippo and I have hammered this into, the past. We've said this so many times. Gio should be playing inside. I don't know why Musa's not playing. It's possible. I'm going to give Greg the benefit of the doubt, even though I don't think he deserves it, that it's possible that they're seeing Musa in training and he's just been really poor. But at some point, I think, the play on the field tonight at least justified a substitute appearance for Musa. And I don't know why he wasn't,
It's so funny because there's JJZ TV. That's a Dortmund channel. He's from Canada. He even is pretty good at soccer. He worked with, I think, Vancouver Whitecaps or Montreal's academy a little bit. And I was talking to him. He's a Dortmund fan. And without me bringing it up, he said the same thing about Gio Reyna in Dortmund. He's like, oh, he's a lot better when he plays middle. And it's like, are we the only ones seeing this? Everyone talks about this. Why do they keep playing him wide? What is going on?
Yeah. No, it doesn't make sense to me either. Okay. But I feel like I've pounded that point into the ground. So I can keep talking about it, but I think at some point, the things that I'm saying, like both Filippo and I are saying, become evident on the field sooner or later. So I feel like I don't want to keep talking about it because it's so obvious now. Abdul Smith. Okay. Joe Ellis or even bringing back Klinsmann would be so much better than Burhalter. I actually thought Klinsmann was a very good coach for us. Okay. I'll address both of these. Joe Ellis needs to get a men's coaching job and prove she can coach men first. Before you don't go from like coaching women to the men's national team. It's a completely different game, guys. It just is. All right. Joe Ellis, I thought, maybe she was being interviewed for the DC United job. I'm happy to see her do that. I hope she does get a job one day because it'd be very interesting to see what happens. But you cannot give somebody who's never coached at this level, okay, and there is massive difference in levels between men and women's soccer. You cannot give them a national team job when they're unproven, okay? So that's just the truth. Klinsmann is a terrible coach. That has been proven over and over and over again. Tactically, he's a terrible coach. Where Klinsmann was good was demanding accountability from the players. That is one aspect of Klinsmann that I really liked. But when it came to the X's and O's of tactics on the field, he was completely clueless. He was successful in Germany because he had Jogi Löw as his assistant. So I'd said this before. Jogi Löw is his assistant, and he did a lot of the tactics, right? Jurgen Klinsmann was the guy holding players accountable for their actions and their play on the field. And in that aspect, he was good for us, but not a coach. To me, he's more of a technical director, okay, of a program, not an X's and O's guy on the field. Just my opinion. We have another one here.
I would add one thing to Klinsmann, though. I think he's better on TV as a sports analyst than a lot of the ones we have here. So I'll give that.
Yeah. Frank Kassler, I don't understand why Burhalter doesn't play Weah. Burhalter needs to tell Pulisic to stay wide and attack defenders 1v1 to create opportunities for himself and others. But see, Frank, what's happening is because there's no creativity in midfield, both Gio and Pulisic are coming inside to create instead of staying wide. If you had creative midfielders like a Reina already playing inside and maybe Musa, it would be easier for Pulisic to stay wide and to not have to come inside so much, right? So it's a tactical setup that's not working because it doesn't suit the skills and abilities of the players, in my opinion. And maybe I'm wrong, but on the evidence that we've continued to see, I don't think I am. And I think Filippo agrees with me here.
I agree with that. We've repeated it
we've said this. So we've been saying this for the last 6 months. Why is it, Filippo, that we say things for so long and then eventually we're proven right on the field? Where does Caden Clark fit in this starting 11? He's not ready to be in the starting 11. He's so very young. I would like to see him get a Gold Cup call-up and get tested at that level with the B team first and see how he does. But he's nowhere near this starting 11 yet. The kid is very, very young, promising player. I like him a lot. I've been a huge fan of Caden Clark. I think he has a future with us. Not just yet, though. Jesse Dyer, can we have a 5-minute discussion about how we should set up our team? I agree with you two. I might have missed it. I'm going to the final. Let's talk about it one more time, guys, and then we're going to get into the player ratings, okay? Have I missed any of these, Filippo? I don't think I have.
I've been trying to keep up. I think the last few you've done.
I have Mr. Chair here that I've missed. I will get to you as well, Mr. Chair. I'm sorry. Let me do Mr. Chair first because he was actually there first, and then I'll get to you. Feels like Christian Pulisic winning the Champions League has opened some eyes in USA. 1K viewers. By the way, Burhalter out. Yay. Did you have 1,000 on your stream too?
Yeah, we hit 1,000 there
That's
too.
Awesome, man.
It goes ups and downs there.
Yeah, ups and downs throughout the game. But I think this is a result of more accountability, more interest in the program because we have players, playing at such a high level now that it generates more interest. With that interest comes expectation, right? If you have players playing at that level, we're going to have higher levels of expectation. Okay? But thank you, Mr. Chair. And yeah, this is awesome, guys. When I started this channel, to think that 1,000 people would come hang out with me with both of us after a game is incredible. And I'm extremely grateful that you guys want to come hang out with us and talk about soccer with us. Because this is an awesome little...
I had 50 was already awesome. Like having feeling like, wow, 50 people here.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's been incredible. You guys are the best fans in the world, honestly. Let's get back to Jesse Dyer's question. Can we have a 5-minute discussion about how we should set up our team? I agree with you too. Yeah. So I think we should go in a very conservative 3-5-2 in possession that becomes a 5-3-2 in defense, right? And maybe Filippo agrees with me. I don't know, but I think you do. Steffen in goal. He had that one, in the first half, he came out for a cross. He didn't quite get. It was a little nerve-wracking there, but he did make a big save in the second half. Probably start him against Mexico again. Back three would be Miazga on the right, Brooks in the middle, and Mckenzie on the left. That's how I would play it.
You're going with the players we have now. Yeah, the players now, not Richards.
Yeah, if Richards are long, there's a different story, but for the final. And then Dest and Robinson is wingbacks, and a midfield three of Yunus Musa at the 6, if Tyler Adams is not fit. And if the fact that he didn't play at all today makes me think he's not quite fit yet. So I don't know if he's going to start against Mexico. Musa at the 6, Reina and McKinney at the dual 8s. Or rather not dual 8s as the attacking mids, the box-to-box midfielders. And then Christian Pulisic up top with Jordan Sibachu. I think Sibachu earned a start against Mexico with that goal. And Sibachu played in the 3-5-2 against Northern Ireland, and it helped set up a penalty for Christian Pulisic. So maybe that's an interesting partnership.
Yeah, I'm okay with a 3-5-2, or even I do think the players we have, the elements we have in this team, a 3-4-2-1 could also work, kind of like how Chelsea plays. You would lose a little bit maybe with Christian Pulisic. Maybe Gio Reyna would benefit a little bit more. Kind of like playing the same role that Mason Mount plays for Chelsea. Maybe not the same work rate, but
I think it would.
That's the only thing I don't know if it would work.
I don't know, but I think it would suit Christian Pulisic. I think he's not a strict forward that has to stay up top. He's a roaming forward, okay? So he can drift wide.
No, not the 3-5-2, the 3-4-2-1. Would that fit?
I don't like it as much because it lacks real width. It lacks width. It's very vertical.
And it's more defensive too to work. The whole step back a little bit, you be a little more compact, then press when they have the ball on the side. It's a little bit different. Yeah, maybe a 3-5-2 would be better, along with having probably Adams. You said Adams and McKennie, right? Behind Reyna?
Yeah. No. Yeah. If Adams is fit, it would be Adams and McKennie. If Adams is not fit, it would be Musa and McKennie.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. That's how I would set up against Mexico. All right, I got a couple of super chats I got to get to here, guys. I'm sorry. There's a lot. I appreciate it. I can't blame this team, from Miguel Garcia. We are too young and inexperienced in the CONCACAF. This is the first time our A team has played together in front of home fans. Yeah, I'm not going to blame players today, anybody, okay? But I do think we need to show up with a different mentality, or this is going to get worse. Even though we are young and inexperienced, you don't have to be experienced to show up with a brawler's mentality, okay? Julian Pinto, should the U.S. play with dual sixes? It's more complicated than that. I wouldn't play with dual sixes because then you lose a lot of creativity. But there's a guy like McKennie and Musa who can drop back and sit next to Adams when you're trying to play more conservatively. And then when you're trying to go on the attack, can offer you a lot in the attack. Jab Dab, Reyna should be in Leget's free role for USMNT. Agreed, 100%. Give Reyna the keys in midfield. He was our best player, best attacker, best player today, period. Even though in the second half he got a little frustrated towards the end, he was constantly being fouled, and he created the most out of nothing. Question. Could you guys see Serginho Dest on the wing and Yunus Musa possibly playing right back? No, I don't think that suits either of them. I think Serginho Dest is fine if he has coverage. If he has a 6 that's helping to protect the back line and he has a back 3, he's fine as a wing back, just maybe not as an out-and-out right back. Ruben Duran, love both channels, learning so much. Is the reason Reyna is not played centrally is because of the MLS contract to play Leget? Ruben, we talked about this. There's no contract. What there probably is some pressure from MLS to have some MLS players on the national team. So I can't speak to why he's not played centrally. I don't know if it's a tactical thing where Greg just thinks this is his best position. I don't know. I can't speak to it. I'm not in the locker room. I'm not in the meetings. I don't know. In my opinion, I think there is probably some pressure, but I also think that Greg is tactically, I don't want to say clueless, because I'm sure he knows a lot, but he's not able to get the best out of this team using the right tactics. All or most of our Americans abroad were facing pressure, criticism, and unfair bias BS by the end of their seasons. They all need to get their mojo back. I don't know if I agree with that, Christian. If you're going to play in Europe, they expect a 100% level every time you step on the field. And if you don't bring that, then you will get criticized for it. That's just part of playing at the highest levels, right? You won't get that in MLS, but when you're at the highest levels, you'll get criticized. That's just the truth. So they have to be able to handle it, Yeah, I think the confidence is low, but I also think we're not prepared for a scrap, which is what CONCACAF is going to be. And we need to be better. More viewers than MLS stream. Good job, guys. What MLS stream? Is Extra Time?
Extra Time did a stream. They did a stream, and I tweeted. You saw me on the phone. They had 400 people, so I just tweeted it.
Woo!
Guys, I was gonna do a W, but it was a very crappy one. But it was a W right there.
No, you guys are awesome. The fact that you're just hanging out with us is like, we feel so lucky, that you guys come hang with us after the game. Edward Vento, I'm currently sitting in the stands after the win, waiting for the Mexico game to start. Loving everything you guys do. It was a great atmosphere in Denver. Thank you, Edward. I hope you had a good game. Good luck with that doubleheader. That is awesome. You know what? Let me just switch the light on because I'm losing light.
Did the game start, Pete, for Mexico?
It's about to start. It's about to start.
Very delayed.
Yeah, it seems a little delayed to me, but it's about to start now. Kicks Knight. Thank you guys for covering the USMNT. I think De La Torre should get a shot. What do you guys think about that? Yeah, where was De La Torre? Why is another technical midfielder not even in the roster? Not even in the roster, while Yule and Acosta are. I don't understand. Maybe, okay, benefit of the doubt. If he sees De La Torre as a dual 8, maybe he felt like he had enough dual 8s already, and he wanted to bring guys more who could play as a 6. I disagree with that, but that's the benefit of the doubt that I'll give Greg on De La Torre.
Let me ask you one thing on that question, though. So you have Tyler Adams in this team, which if you brought him, I'm assuming he's expecting to play Tyler Adams eventually. You have Jackson and Acosta. So is that 3 6s? Because they're not 6s, but I know they play as a 6 in the USMNT.
Acosta's more of an 8 than Jackson is, but Greg has used him as a 6 in these last 2 games, right? And if Luca De La Torre is an 8, he's way more technical and better on the ball than Kellen Acosta is, and he can play the 6. In fact, if you guys remember, against Northern Ireland, Kellen Acosta came off in the 60th minute and after a terrible game, and Luca De La Torre played at the 6. And from that 6 position, he created 2 scoring opportunities for Daryl Dike. So I think he could play the 6. I still think he would be a lot better than Acosta or Yule. Christian Salas, Timo Werner. Not sure what that is.
I don't know.
Not sure. Context. Need some context. Yes, guys, let's go into the player ratings. Guys, just hold. I appreciate all the support. Don't get me wrong, but just hold the super chats for now, because if you give them and I'm talking about something else and then I miss them, I don't want to miss your super chat. So we're going to do a quick player rating, and then I'll open it back up for super chats and maybe some other questions. Let's start with Zach Steffen. What do you give him?
Okay. Let's start. This is a tricky one, and people love to criticize us when we rate. They're like, oh, you rated this. You gave him a 6. It should have been a 6.5. It's like, okay, look. So Zach Steffen, the goal that Josh Sargent saved us, he made a mistake, and we could have lost the game on that play. When he was tested with shots, he was pretty safe, and he made a big save in the second half that saved us. I think it was offsides after, but it was a big save. I'm going to give Steffen a 6. I think he was above average despite that one mistake.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a 7.
7? Yeah.
Because he had that one mistake, which could have cost us really bad. And, if that had gone in, we might have given him less. Yeah. But he still, overall, he made a really big save in the second half to save our bacon as well. Okay. Alex Espinoza. Just thank you, Alex. Appreciate it. Not sure if there's a comment there. Go ahead and talk about Serginho Dest. I'm just going to set up my light because I'm losing light from natural light. So go ahead and talk about Serginho Dest. I'll be back in like 12 seconds.
I'll give Dest his rating while Pete is out. So Serginho Dest, what did we see in the game today? We saw an invisible Dest. On defense, didn't do much. On offense, which we expect from him, we didn't see anything. I'm going to give Dest, honestly, because I don't want to be too harsh on the play, but I'm going to give him a 3. I'm going to give Dest a 3. I can't give him more than a 3. And even when Dest shifted to the left back, nothing really changed much. So that's all I have to say about Dest. I'll give him a 3. If you guys give him a 4, anything below 5, below average, because he was below average today, I'll give him a 3. I can't give him a 2 or 1. He wasn't a disaster. No. So I'll give him a 3.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a 3 as well. I thought he was poor on both sides of the ball. And from a Barcelona right back, I expect better. Okay? Mm-hmm. Let's talk really quick.
Robinson.
Who?
Robinson, left back now?
Yeah, Robinson. He looked shaky defensively and didn't offer a lot going forward except for that one cross for Josh Sargent, which, by the way, was not as easy as some people think Sargent should have scored that. But when you watch the replay, the ball was actually behind Sargent and he had to leap backwards to head it. It wasn't that easy that it was like had to be a goal. I'm going to give him a 4.
Mm-hmm.
I thought because several times he got beat on the wing, by the Honduran players, whether it was Lozano or Elise, So, I can't give him more than that.
I'm actually going to give him the same rating I gave Dest. I'm just going to give him a 3. I don't think he was better than Dest. I thought he did have that good cross. So it was tough for Sargent to head it, but it was a pretty good cross that he whipped in. But it was. I just think him and Dest were poor today at the same level. I'm just going to give him a 3.
I guess I expect more from Dest than I do Robinson, so that's why I gave Robinson a 4.
True.
Dest was like a 2 for me tonight. Terrible. Maybe. John Brooks. Oh, John Brooks is a tough one because he had some really good moments and some really poor ones. And again, some of these things, I have to go back and watch the game, guys. And I'm going to put my game analysis breakdown with clips on Patreon like I did in the last game. So if you guys want to, join Patreon for that, you can see it. But if we get these wrong, I might get them right on the rewatch. I thought Brooks, I'm going to give him a 6 because 5.5.
I'm going to give him a 6, though. I'm going to go with what you said. The reason I'm going to give him a 6 is over the game, he had goods and bad moments average. But he was the one that set up the long ball for McKinney for the header for the goal. So I'll give him a bonus for that. I'll give Brooks a 6, above average for that.
Yeah.
A little bit biased right there.
Yep. Same, 6. Mark Mckenzie. I thought Mark was similar to Brooks in that he was poor sometimes and good in other times. I'm going to give him a 5 because I don't think he was impressive enough to get above average, but he did do some really good quality defending. Most of his giveaways were not good. So 5 for Mark Mckenzie. Let's go
5.
Jackson Yule.
I'm giving a 5 as well for Mark McKenzie because I'm not giving him a boost.
Sorry. Jackson Yule. What do you give Jackson Yule?
So first half was very bad. Second half was less bad, but not good.
I thought he was connecting passes well in the second half, but he wasn't really under a lot of pressure, right? They basically left him alone in the second half. I'm going to give Yule a 4 because defensively he was poor. And in the first half, he gave the ball away 3 separate times in a poor, which was very poor technique. Under some pressure, he gave the ball away. I'm going to give Jackson Yule a 4.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a 4 is fine too. I'm just going to give him a 3 just because I think it's hard to judge who was worth, but he wasn't good. Dest wasn't good. I'm going to give him the same as – I know I hold Dest to higher. I'm just going to give him a 3 as well.
Okay. Weston Mckinney. I'm giving Weston Mckinney a 3. Apart from the header, he did almost nothing today on either side of the ball. He was poor defensively, and he was poor going forward. He almost seemed invisible for most of the game. So I'm giving McKinney a 3.
God, his performance, I'll let you read that.
Greg Spradlin, everything else aside, based on today, we lose against El Tri or the Ticos, unless their semifinal gets canceled. About to start, so I don't think it's getting canceled. Look, that game is over. We have a chance to start afresh in the final, and I hope we approach it differently, but I understand, Greg, where you're coming from. It's hard to see a team that looks this fragile mentally be really good against a tough team like Mexico or a very similar to Honduras team like Costa Rica. I understand that. Your thoughts on McKinney?
I'm going to give him – he was bad. That's all I can say. But he got an assist. I'm a little biased on that. Just like I'm going to give him a 4. Below average, but the assist gave him a little boost right there. 4.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's fair. I hold McKinney to a very high standard. Again, he's one of the quote-unquote veterans on the team, and he's playing at a very high level. So I hold him to a high standard. Christian Pulisic.
Well, again, it goes to that we hold him to a very high standard, and I expect him to be the man in this team. And man, I hate to say this, but I'm going to give Pulisic a 4. I don't want to give lower. I don't know.
3. I'm going to give him a 3. I thought he was poor. I don't think he was set up for success, but I don't think any of the players were. So. Yeah, I'm definitely going to give him a 3.
It hurts, right?
It hurts. It hurts that our best player or one of our best players. Yeah, Mexico game has started if anybody wants to tune in. Gio Reyna. I'm going to give Gio Reyna a 7.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll give. I'm just so I don't sound because I was going to say 7.5. I'm going to keep the same as yours, 7. He
Yeah.
was very good in the first half. In the second half, he was getting fouls for us. He was trying. Got a very hard foul. Him, it was like a scissor tackle.
Yeah, they were fouling Reyna. They identified in the first half that he was our biggest danger, our biggest threat, and they fouled the crap out of him in the second half. So I'm giving him a 7. He could have been better with that shot. He was the first shot on goal. Now listen, people say, "Oh, he should have finished that." Yes, I agree. He should have. But guess what? When you create that shot out of nothing by beating multiple players in a crowded box, you get some leeway. You know what I mean? If someone had passed that to him and he missed it, sure. Right?
Pete, he created that out of nowhere. It was a tight. He would probably lost the ball, and he found a way.
He found a way, and he missed it. It's unfortunate, but he was our most dangerous player on the night, not just with his dribbling, but with his passing. He was very good. And I thought he deserved better. And he's also 18 years old. He was the youngest player out there tonight. The youngest. Think about that. Our best player was the youngest player on the field. Let's go into Sebastian Lletget.
I don't think he did much at all.
He was very poor, just like McKinney.
I give him a 4. I'm giving him a 4 as well. He was just. It's not like he was completely terrible, but it was not a good game. It was not a good game for him.
No, very poor. And especially Lletget is one of the veterans, right? So like Brooks and Lletget are the veterans here, right? Lletget's almost 30 years old, been a professional player for the last 8 years, had played in World Cup qualifying before, knows CONCACAF. You know what? I'm adjusting it to a 3 for Lletget. I expect better from one of the veterans on the team. That's what people say. Oh, you need Lletget there for his veteran leadership. I didn't see it today. Josh Sargent, poor, really poor today. Had some good moments, but overall was poor. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm gonna give him a little boost. He saved.
I'm gonna give him a boost for saving the goal. Yeah, hell yeah. I'm gonna give him a 4. Well,
yeah, I'm gonna put him closer to a 5. I'm gonna put a 4.5 because
4.5.
Yeah, 4.5 or 5 because that save was a difference maker. We talked about the mentality of this team. If we went to halftime behind, I don't know how we would have reacted.
Yeah, and Honduras would have bunkered, right? So yeah, I'm gonna give him a boost, but overall he was poor. Okay, let's talk about the subs now. So the first subs, there was 3 to come on at the same time. We had Aronson, who I thought was poor. Also, when he came on, nothing like it just. Again, it's so hard to keep saying these players were poor because when so many of them are poor, you feel bad calling them all out, and you think you should call out the guy who's really responsible. But we'll get to that. Aronson, 4. He was a hustler, ran around, didn't have much of the ball, wasn't great when he had it. Maybe I got it wrong, and I'll rewatch the game, and maybe I would revise that. But just based on my initial remembrance of the game, that's a 4.
Yeah, and plus they didn't play many minutes. It didn't even hit 20. It was like 15 minutes that they played.
No, yeah.
So I don't know, Pete. It's like it gets to a point where these are players I don't even know what to rate because they didn't play much. I'm gonna give Brent around the 4 or 5 average. He didn't do anything. Hold the ball when he had it.
He also had 17 minutes, right, or 18 minutes. Yeah. So it's like they came out 13 minutes. 77th minute. How did Burhalter wait to the 77th minute to bring on subs? I don't understand.
0-0.
Yeah. How? I just don't understand. Especially, okay, we'll get to that. Acosta was the same as like Jackson Yule. I didn't really see a difference. I didn't see an improvement on anything. You know, he looked eager, Acosta. He looked like he wanted to create. He looked like he wanted to help defend. And I'll give him for effort. I'll give Acosta 5. But I don't think
came a little later.
Yeah, he did come in later. He had like 7 minutes, right? 10 minutes.
5 minutes, 7. He barely played.
Who were the other subs? It was Aronson, Cannon.
Sibachu and Reggie Cannon came in. Sibachu
and Cannon. Cannon came on. I didn't really see anything from Cannon. See, it's so hard with subs when they have so little time because their impact on the game will be minimal because of the game state. So it's hard. I'm going to give Cannon just a 5 because I don't think he did anything noticeably bad, but he didn't really impact the game either. Average. Yeah. Just, Jordan Sibachu won the game for us, even though he only had 13 minutes on the field. I'm going to give him an 8. you know, yeah, 8. That would be 8, maybe even a 9, because the one job you had, you did it. You scored the winner. Let's give him a 9.
Here's the thing with Siabachu. He wasn't there for too long. He didn't do anything bad. He didn't do anything good besides the goal.
Yeah.
besides the goal, which was what got us to the final. So it's very hard to rate him. But yeah, we have to give him 7.5, 8, 9. He scored the game-winning goal. He was we said Sargent was the hero, but we could have still lost on PKs. He was the final. Sargent was Robin. He was Batman, and that's Batman gets more credit. So I'll give him a 7.5. The highest.
Sargent was the hero defensively, which you don't want from your striker, but the Sibachu was the guy who brought us to the final. So he gets an 8, at least, maybe 9, 8.5, somewhere around that. Matt Miazga, I'm not going to rate him because he came on so late. Okay, so it's just like he came on.
I give him a 10. I always give him a 10.
Let's get to the rating of the night, Greg Burhalter.
I'm going to give – so my lowest rating was a 3 overall.
Yeah.
And Burhalter was worse than the player. So I'm giving him a 2.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a 2. And the only reason it's not a 1 is because he did win the game.
He put Siabachu.
He did put Siabachu on eventually, who scored the winning goal. But tactically, he was very poor. We were set up super poorly tactically, and we came out with the wrong mentality. So that's all I have to say about that. Okay, we have one here from Paul Monroy. Some managers play chess. Greg plays Connect 4.
No.
Good one, Paul.
Some managers play chess. Some play checkers. He plays Connect 4.
Exactly. Lozano just hit the post with a beautiful volley. Man, this is going to be a fun game. I think Mexico's going to win this. They look eager and bright. Yeah, look at Mexico's almost full crowd compared to ours, huh? But you know what? Mexico has earned their fan base. We have not. Our play over the last 5 years has actually caused a lot of people to stop caring about the USMNT. So it's not the fans' fault as much as it is the federation's fault and the players' fault and the coach's fault. Because if you're consistently a losing program, why should fans come follow you? Like, I'm not surprised. American Soccer United, what would you change for a final? I feel like we talked about this one already, man. We talked about going to a 3-5-2 and playing. I would play more defensively in the final. Defend. Grill that defending mentality into us and then try to hit them on the counter with Pulisic, Reina, and Pifok, Jordan Sibachu. That's what I would do. But let's see what happens.
We also mentioned that, let's say Burhalter keeps the 4-3-3. We mentioned of obviously maybe Tyler Adams being back or Yunus Musa playing the 6 and bringing in maybe Gio Reyna for Leggett and putting Tim Weah. That's a couple of things we touched bases on earlier in the video.
Yeah, a couple of players that we would want to switch. Ochoa coming out of his box to play sweeper keeper. Mexico just looks like they've come out with the right mentality in this game. Are you watching?
I'm not. I actually need to get Paramount Plus. I don't have it.
It's on TUDN.
TUDN?
Yeah. I would rather have Frank de Boer than Burhalter. Can't say I agree with you there, Michael Garrison. No thanks.
Keep Frank de Boer in Netherlands.
Guys, again, just quick review. I'm happy that we got the result, but did I miss another? Sorry, guys. Did I miss another super chat here by Rico? How come Rico P's super chats don't show up for me? What is it?
It might have just like scrolled down for so many messages. I'm trying to find it here. Rico Po, I found it. I can read it.
How come I don't see his super chats? It's so weird. I didn't see his last one either.
Rico Poe said, Bucio already a better 6 than Jackson Yule and Kelna Costa. And his spot kicks are money. So free kicks. Yeah.
I agree with you. I don't know if Gianluca Bucio is as defensively solid as a guy like Tyler Adams, but what I've seen from him this year at Sporting KC has been really good. Now, that's a small sample size, right? Mm-hmm. It's a very small sample size. So what we need to do is we need to see Gianluca Bucio at the Gold Cup. Okay, before we start anointing players, let's see them for the national team. Let's see how they perform because, a lot of it is a mentality thing too. Mac Ryan, tactics aside, I think Triple G struggles to coach our young players because they know they are better and they get mad when our MLS players screw up the build-up. I haven't seen that, Mac. I haven't seen that on the field, so it's hard for me to speak to it. I haven't seen them getting mad at the quote-unquote MLS players. So I can't really speak to that. It's possible that they don't respect Greg, but there's no evidence of that right now. So I don't want to say that is true or not true. It's possible. It's possible because, coaches can lose the locker room, especially when the players suspect coaches don't know what they're doing. They can easily lose the locker room. Has Burhalter lost the locker room? I don't know. But as of right now, there's not a lot of effort for it, evidence for it. Last one from Drew. Honest predictions for Sunday going 2-1 El Tree.
Mexico hasn't won yet.
Mexico hasn't won yet. Let's wait and see what happens. Costa Rica currently have a free kick, which Ochoa has come out and saved really nicely. But yeah, I suspect if we play Mexico, if we come out with the same tactics and the same mentality that we had today, we're going to get thrashed by Mexico.
It's going to get worse than 2-1 if it's the same exact team in the same way.
If we don't shape up tactically, really, and shape up mentally, it's going to be a bloodbath, and we have to do that. Maybe drop the 6 and do it by committee with Musa and McKinney. Also, we need a motherfucker on the field. Thought it would be McKinney. Guys, dropping the 6, no, you need a 6. You absolutely need a 6. If anything, you don't do it by committee. You have a dedicated 6. There's Tyler Adams we have. I think Musa could play the 6. I think McKinney could be more defensive against Mexico. Yes. But motherfucker, again, it's like we don't need a motherfucker on the field. We need 11 motherfuckers. Okay, we need 11 guys who are committed to the scrap when we don't have the ball and are there to show up to play. And right now, I don't see that on the team. Now, let's hope this was a bad day and Switzerland's second half was a bad day. Because remember, in the first,
go ahead, finish up.
In the first half against Switzerland, we were very good, right, with the ball. We looked confident. We looked creative. We looked like creating chances. And in the second half, when things started to turn against us, we fell apart. Today, we were mostly bad. That's just the truth.
And one thing the U.S. needs to learn to do is this. We scored a goal with 3 minutes left. Fall, cramp, roll on the ground, waste time. I know it's very annoying, and it's very annoying when teams do to us. Why don't we do to other teams? That is part of soccer.
It's part of that mentality, too, that brawler's mentality. Okay.
Yeah.
Greg Spradlin. Thank you, Greg. You are on fire today. I feel like a lost lesson here is the lack of quality from players in the previous cycle really hurts us now. A lot of problems could have been mitigated by an experienced veteran on the field. I just can't name anyone. Yeah, I agree with you. You want more veterans in the team so long as they bring quality with them, right? But again, let's look at the veterans today. John Brooks and Sebastian Lletget are the true veterans today. I didn't see a lot from Sebastian Lletget that suggested that he was offering a lot of leadership on the field. Tyler Adams offers a lot of leadership, and he's 22 years old. Or 21. So I don't know if it's just about being a quote unquote veteran automatically makes you a leader. I think leadership qualities matter, right? Whether you're 21 or 31. Okay. Whoo, guys, just a few more and then we got to go. I'm losing my voice. Filippo's been a goddamn hero. He's the goddamn MFer on the field that you guys need. He's been
tomorrow I don't work, so I'll just drink a lot of water. I'm good.
Yeah. Super chat pleading the community stop using Triple G initials for Greg. Those are my initials. Thanks, guys. Love all the content. Thanks, George. I think you might struggle there. I think Triple G is pretty set in stone with this community. So I don't know how hard it's going to be to get the change. Ryan Kerfman, do we have anyone that is a set price? I think you mean set piece specialist, or has a legitimately good passing range? Would have loved to see Julian Green today too. Julian Green wasn't on the Nations League roster, so that was never going to happen. I think Gio Reyna should take set pieces. We've seen him take them at Dortmund, and he's been really good. I don't know why Lletget is taking them for us. Again, that is Burhalter's decision, not mine. I think Gio Reyna is better at set pieces, but we will see.
I have a funny story, Pete. I have a funny story.
Okay.
Quick. It's quick. So everyone's asking for a new coach in the U.S. men's national team. This week, Alberto Valentim, that's a coach from Cuiabá in the Brazilian first division. He got fired because he was having an affair with the club's president's wife.
Wow. And what position was he on at the club?
He was the manager, the coach.
Oh my God.
And then what happened with that was the president wanted to fire him mid-game when he found out. And it was so messy. And he was undefeated with the team. And the team is a small team that made it to the first division. And he's now unemployed there.
Oh my God.
We should hire him. I don't know if Brian McBride would like that. Could be risky, but
Wow. That's quite something. All right, guys, thanks for coming and hanging with us. We appreciate it. Thank you to everybody contributing to the super chats. If this was a little all over the place, I'm sorry, guys. It's going to be like that right after a game because we're emotional. Both of us will rewatch the game. I'm going to rewatch it and put my evaluation up on Patreon. We'll see you guys on Sunday. We are in the Nations League final, and that in itself is a victory and something to be celebrated. And let's hope we show up with a different mentality and better tactics and the right personnel. Let's go, USA. Red, white, blue, guys. You all have a great night, and I will talk to you soon. Take care, Filippo. Get some rest, buddy.
I definitely do. When you get here. Pete, out.